Hi, Jyotika. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you. The pleasure is completely mine and such a warm welcome. So many kind words. I'm overwhelmed at the start of the talk itself.
Well, we're very excited to have you. Your journey has been really inspiring, and the work that you're doing is so mission driven. We're delighted to be able to share this with our audience today. To start with, we'd love to just learn a little bit more about Srujna and what was the impetus for this project. Also, if I'm mispronouncing it, please correct me now.
No, you're pronouncing it absolutely correct. And in fact, this is my favorite way to begin any kind of conversation, to begin where it all started. So let me start by saying I have been a privileged human being all my life. And why I say I call myself privileged is because there's so much talk around equitable world, gender inequity, women facing so many kind of atrocities, no rights, no access to education, work, etc. That's why I call myself privileged. I have always had access to education. I had always had access to opportunity. I never faced gender inequity in my family or in the surroundings and the network that I was. So growing up, it was my privileged world, a cocoon that I was living in. And being from a metropolitan city that is Mumbai, I had all the fun that I could get. As I said, access to education, work opportunities, and the right of choice. Whatever I wanted to do, I was able to do. So when I was doing my MBA in social entrepreneurship, as part of MBA, we students have to go through the internship procedure, get a certificate so we can get our fancy jobs. But when I did my internship, it was with a group of rescued victims of human trafficking. And trust me, that altered my way of being and me as a person completely, because there was a 9-year-old girl whom I used to interact with a lot. Imagine a 9-year-old kid laughing, jumping. The only worries that they have is what will come in examination? Will my teacher scold me for not doing the homework? Or, oh my God, I broke something in the house. There was this 9-year-old girl. She was sold in the brutal act of human trafficking by her own family. She was rescued by some method and some grace and placed in the shelter home where a legal case was going on her. And she knew everything. She brutally came up to me and said that, Didi, you come here and intern with us, teach us some education. It's all fine. But you know what will happen? When my legal case is over, I will be thrown back to the same place that I was rescued from. And imagine that gruesome story, that saddening tale coming from a 9-year-old. And it shattered my world. It was like crime CNN live in action. I used to see it in news all the time, but this is something in front of my eyes and I couldn't digest it. I went back to my friend and the co-founder of Srujna and I said, look, we have to do something for these girls. I don't know what, and I'm clueless, but I know for a fact that I'm not going to leave this. And that's how Srujna started. For 8 months, the co-founder and I, we both plunged into fieldwork. It was 30 rescued victims of human trafficking. We engaged them in making some artificial jewelry. Being management students, we went ahead and sold it in exhibitions, kiosk space, etc. And that's where we realized this is our calling was, and we want to do this for our whole lives. And rest is history.
Absolutely, the history and the future as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, I mean, going to something that you said, given the scope of problem of of gender equality or the scale, right? Why did you and your co-founder hone into the fact that earning power was going to be your focus, or you could say the way out for the people that you help?
So let me just reverse ask the question. How did you feel when you first earned your salary? Like that first check or cash that you must have received. How did you feel?
I still feel very good about earning my salary.
Absolutely, right? We feel at the top of the world. And having said that, I personally have all the luxuries, but still, when that salary credited message comes in my inbox, it is fun. It is like, chalo, let's do a party today. Tonight is a party mood. But jokes apart, there has been enough and more research by the McKinseys of the world and the Boston Consulting Group, the World Bank, the UN. Everyone is talking that female population is 50% of the population of the globe. And when this 50% of the population, like whoever is in the work age, starts earning, definitely that is going to have a economic growth and economic like exponential growth of economy, leading to all that sustainable development goals, empowering communities, their families, like generations to come. Secondly, what happens is in our experience of 11 years, what we have observed is when we go to the grassroots, the problems that the women face amplifies when they are at the bottom of the pyramid and they do not have any income. Already there are women who are facing issues of not being able to raise their voice, don't have their identities, battling with domestic violence and various other social issues that we read about every day in the newspaper. Imagine going to them and talking to them about, let me help you with mental health, or you have the possibility, or there is manifestation, law of attraction, it is all possible, let me talk to you about your health, physical health. They will look up to me and simply say, have you lost your mind? I'm trying to survive here. I do not have bread to eat. I do not have food to feed my children. What I'm not interested in what you're selling. Please go away. And we have seen a lot of people do that. A lot of organization trying to do stuff for them, which is all good. I'm not denying the fact that it is absolutely crucial and needed, but it all starts with earning an income. When they have food in their plate, in their family's plate, that's the time that they will start listening to you. Hence, we realize to break that cycle and make them realize their potential, which we first need to empower them economically. And we saw that millions of stories across 11 years. It has been now 55,000 women who have started organizations, and doing something in life. And then it goes on and on. She invests in her family, in family's health, education, etc. And then rest is history. Like everything takes place from there.
Absolutely. And you just you mentioned 55,000 people that you have helped. That is an amazing number. Congratulations. I'm sure it wasn't easy to get there. How did Srujna eventually like scale up to the level that it's at now?
So I would go back a little few years back, like in 2013, 2014, being typical female mentality. And I'm not biased or I'm not saying only females have this, but we have that attitude, let me do it all. Like we'll take care of the family, we'll take care of the income, we'll take care of finances, we'll take care of children, elderly, everything. And it is just ingrained in us. Again, nothing good, bad, right, wrong about it, but that's how we are cultured to grow. And similarly, an organization also, we try to do it all. We try to give them income, we try to market their products that they were making, we try to raise funds for the organization. We are not for profit, market ourselves, do marketing, HR, finance, everything. And that's the time we realize we cannot do it alone. So to scale up, either we need to give up our need for doing it all ourselves, and we need to partner. So we started doing a lot of synergy, and we found out synergetic organization at the grassroots. The self-help groups were there. There were so many of not-for-profit that were in the similar arena. There were companies, there were corporates, and in India, CSR is a mandatory thing, which were willing to invest in such a noble cause. So we started partnering with them. And when the ground level was taken care of, so we had this army of women from the grassroots who said, you give us an idea, you give us an implementation plan, and we'll help you implement it. And that's when we started growing up. So to give you an example, there will be a group of women who would say that we know how to make products. Can you help us sell it? And there would be a company, a big corporate like a Reliance or a Tata saying that, you know what, take our corporate campuses, have free exhibition kiosk space in our campuses across India. And that's how we expanded. In every city, we would find a group of women who are making product. We'll connect them to a corporate who is willing to give free space to sell the products to their employees. And boom, there it was. And slowly, steadily, right from 500,000 numbers, we went exponentially, and impact wise, you can see today we are at 55,000. It is still a droplet in ocean when it comes to India, but we see we have come a long way, and now the platform is set. We in a funny way we call ourselves Amazons of not-for-profit sector. So we are a platform, we are not-for-profit platform connecting with a lot of vendors which are women's group and getting them to the market.
And so, sort of going from there, in your experience working with women across India, what made it clear to you that women have immense power to be community change makers?
That's absolutely a wonderful story. And let me tell you another stories, because these stories are the women, real women who inspire me daily. So there is a woman from the grassroots in outskirts of Mumbai, like it's a semi-urban locality. And we met her 10 years ago, a decade ago. That's the time she was doing 3 odd jobs to fill her like earning needs of her family. She had 2 daughters, and her husband was taking care of the family, and the economic responsibility was with her. From there we started investing in her. We saw a potential leader in her. She had 15 women with along with her that she wanted to take it to the next level. What we did was simply give her some capacity building training, some upgrading training. She already knew a lot of skills. We gave her platforms where she could exhibit her products and sell the products. And slowly, steadily, she started picking it up. She's not literate. She's just like 12th and a high school graduate. And but still, her potential and her immense desire and aspiration to not just support her family but the families around was just brilliant. She kept on picking up, and within 5 years we see that from a small group she already established a not-for-profit organization that were training a lot more women in the community. So when I asked her, why are you doing this, why are you not just doing it for yourself? She like, no, I went through a lot of adversities where I didn't have money to give pay my child's education fees in school. I don't want any women to go through that, not at least in my community. And slowly, steadily, a decade down the line, today she has a not for profit. She has a for profit that makes products and employs women to make products. Both her daughters have studied engineering and today are working at Infosys. She herself and her group of 15 ladies have become trainers, master trainers, who have trained more than 10,000 women in their community. 10,000. And to top it all, lastly, now her, one of the women from that 15, she has empowered that women so much, she's standing for local election. So now the change is just replicating, it is scaling up. We just had to put in some seeds, we had to invest in her, and it is just blowing out of proportion. And I have so many millions such story. Some young girl, 23-year-old, sitting in Kashmir, and she's supporting her family of 6 and 10 other girls. We have some girl in rural part of India. She is a single mother. She took up upon herself that not just her but family, the entire community, she will do it during COVID. She spent all her savings that she had to buy vegetables for her community. So when we invest in women, we see that they just don't want to keep it for themselves. They need, and I call it maternal instinct, the automatic instinct to give back to the society is so high that they give it to the children, they give it to their families. And when their families are secured, they go out, they seek out, they get more women. It's like a kitty party, a gossip corner. Come, we'll do something and we'll enjoy. We'll share our troubles also, but we'll learn something. And that's how the stories have just been picking up. And every day we come across such inspiring story, and we take it ahead.
Yes, it's definitely an example of like the ripple effect, so to speak. It's definitely an example of how increasing women's earning power, can lead to more sustainable development. What do you enjoy the most about the work that you do, say, on a day-to-day basis?
I think it is the community immersion. So thanks to my work, I have written even in the introduction, it was written, I'm fond of travel, but I'm not a very touristy kind of a person. I travel. When I go to communities, I see their culture. I see how women in each area of India is living their life. And it's so inspiring to see sometimes with limited resources, they are able to give so much. I would go and stay with them. I would interact with them. Thanks to Srujna and thanks to the work that we are doing, we are able to connect with so many lovely organizations and so many lovely stakeholders. And one of them is Indian Army. And I'm fortunate and privileged to go and meet the Indian Army out in Srinagar and work with them and see what brilliant things they are doing, not just protecting our company, but our country, but they are also investing a lot in getting the youth of Kashmir developed. And it's just brilliant to see that. When I was completing my MBA, like a normal MBA graduate, I had an aspiration. Why not work for a corporate, or why not go for a UN job and complete my studies out and like have a fascinating job? But now, when I see 11 years down the line, this is the best thing that I could have done, and it inspires me daily. And that I get to travel, I get to live my dream, and I'm paid to do good work. What can be more better than that?
Absolutely. And we have some questions coming in from the
Yes,
audience.
yes.
Yeah, one of them is, what is a piece of advice that you would give to fellow women who are at an early stage of their careers? My dog is also very excited, so apologies for the barking.
No worries at all. So, one piece of advice that I would give women is we all have certain time gaps that we are. One is that if we find those time gaps, it is not that you have to give 8 hours to start working. Even those 2 hours or 1 hour of a day is important. Start by just watching YouTube videos, or just start by looking at your interest area. Today, we are in an era that anything and everything can be made into a freelance job, into a business, into some kind of flexible work opportunity. Thanks to COVID, we all have learned how to work from our own homes as well. Today, we are interacting, I think, in different places across the globe. So, that is a piece of advice to all women that you want to start, just start. And there are just 3 steps. One is learning, continuous learning, and today learning is free. Coursera has become such a platform that it offers free courses forever. There are also other places. YouTube is the biggest source of learning these days for free of cost. So start there, and I'm sure you'll find way up. The third and the last advice to them would be, have your own tribe. Like, create a tribe of women who will pull you up and share ideas, exchange ideas, and they will just get you pumped up to work. All of them just go out and work.
Yes, absolutely. And, my next question for you is, there are a lot of, you mentioned coming from a place of privilege. Some of us realize it, some of us don't. But everybody wants to help, in some way. What are big and small ways that one can help? Could it maybe on a daily basis, weekly basis, and so forth?
I think one of the biggest way we privileged people can help ourselves and the community and the generation who is coming next is being cautious and aware about the language that we use. I have been advocating this a lot. So quite often we say, we catch ourselves saying policemen, postmen. So this entire thing is so ingrained that it comes out very naturally. And in fact, it was a standing joke one of my friend made that, now you are a businessman and not a businesswoman, because men know how to do work better in business. And that could be a reality like a decade, or I would say 30 years ago, but still, it is still prevalent. So let us start by there. Let us start by teaching ourselves and our generations to come that why not use the word human being more, why not use the word person more, and being cautious about that. The second way, I think today social media has given the power in our hands. The biggest way to promote anything and help anyone is promote them on social media, follow them, give a shout out, become their ambassadors. You never know what opportunity might just pop up. Some NGO somewhere would say, hey, we are selling these cloth bags, would you buy it? And you would say, yeah, I'm supporting, I'm contributing. Or there would be, I know for a fact that I follow UN a lot, and I look up to them, and they came up with this monthly giving thing, which was so tiny that even a college going kid could do it and they would feel happy. Now, I would not have known this hadn't I not followed them everywhere on social media. So, two simple things: daily acts, One is be conscious of your language. Second is social media is in your hands. The power is in your hands. Please do it use it intellectually.
Yes, absolutely. That was super helpful. For me, I have to remember to not say guys, hey guys. So instead to say hey peeps or hey folks.
Yes, please.
you know,
Thanks.
as
Even I learned that new thing.
yes, there's so much of that is just ingrained in us. We don't even realize, the repercussions, so to speak. Yeah.
True.
And for those looking to set up their own organizations, whether it's for profit or not for profit, having the right co-founder and finding a way to interact with them, is so important. What advice, or how did you make it work? How did the two of you make it work for y'all?
So it's a funny story. We met in college. We were acquaintances and later on became friends. I think the biggest turning point from us to become acquaintances to become friends was when we became transparent with each other. Even though some things that we hated about each other, we were totally open about it, and that's how businesses grow. Any partnerships grow. It's like almost like a partnership, a marriage, that you have to be open and trusting other person to accept that there would be differences and agree to disagree. Regardless, even if you are not don't have a co-founder, you are a sole entrepreneur, I would say, as I said earlier, create your tribe. Male, female, doesn't really matter. If you have your tribe of people who are uplifting you all the time, or your go-to people who can inspire you, you can speak to them, you are through. I think the difficult part is taken care of, because being an entrepreneur could be a lonely journey sometimes, and these tribes can help you a lot in that.
Yes, I have to agree with that. Networking and support systems,
Yes. Yes,
are
yes. And in fact,
key.
your platform does a fabulous work of that, like bringing together so many people at one platform, and people can go through them. People have so much data or information available. It's just brilliant. So kudos to you guys.
Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate hearing that. And yes, as you mentioned, Powerfly does offer coaching and mentorship. And I know that, you all
Exactly.
offer coaching as well, through Srujna. How has coaching or mentorship benefited you in your career?
Oh, it has altered my life completely. I'm still under certain mentors. I'm still coached daily. So the co-founder of Srujna a couple of years back had a second calling and inspired to become a certified life coach. And that's where the journey of Srujna went to another level altogether. And she coached, she believed in me, we believed in each other. So she started coaching me rigorously to take this to the next level. It helped to break the mental barriers that yes, I can do it. So to give you a simple example of a financial growth, I always used to feel that there is a certain limit to which Srujna can grow. Like every year we can grow for 50%, or let's say, yeah, that's a good growth, 50% growth. But the moment I started taking her coaching and breaking my mental barriers, sky was a limit. In that same year, I had 197% financial growth for Srujna. And impact wise, also, we reached from 15,000 to almost 25,000 women in that single financial year. So that's what coaching does to you. It will help you unleash your potential. It will help you unleash, break your mental barriers, and just take you to the next level. It's about level up. It's not about having problems and you go to coaching, but it is about entirely about finding that purpose and growth and believing in yourself. So yes, continuous mentoring coaching is something that I would highly advise each and every person to have. Lastly, just to add, like you see athletes all the time, they have coaches. Every sports person you see, you come across, will have a coach. Why? Because coaches believe in them and they make them excel. It's the same formula that applies to each and every human being. To excel, you will need a coach.
Yes, absolutely. Also, as a neutral third party, cares about
Totally.
you, but can also give
Totally.
you some tough love
Yes.
every now and then.
Absolutely.
We have a few minutes left. There were a couple of questions that I was hoping to
Please.
tackle.
Yes.
One of them is, can you, in two lines, tell people about Srujna and how maybe they can get involved. And the second would be advice for your younger self.
Sure. Srujna is a not-for-profit platform. We enable women that are impacted by poverty, abuse, and human trafficking to earn a respectable income. We are present pan-India. The best way each and every one of you who is watching us right now could be follow Srujna NGO on Instagram, and there you will find million ways to support us. It's not just monetary support, but a non-monetary support and a shout out that we love a lot. So that kind of support is crucial for us. To give us advice to the second, the younger self is, we look at life in a very significant way. Each and every moment is very significant. Whereas if you see in the larger scheme of life, as I said, I was a privileged child. The focus was on me. But when I shifted the focus on some other person, I grew as a human being. So younger self, don't be too self-involved. Maybe look outward, more to the community, more towards the society, and I'm sure everyone will find their calling.
That is really good advice, and I wish I could go back to my younger self and tell tell myself that and a couple of other things too.
Same here.
Yes. And what plans, before we sign off for today, what plans for Srujna in the future? Like, what do the next couple of years look like for y'all?
So this year itself, I can say we want to reach out to 1 lakh women. And now we are expanding. We are creating an army of women change makers at the grassroots. We fondly call them Super Didi, like super sisters. And that's the plan. We want to have more and more such women. The story that I told you, the single lady who inspired and had the aspiration to help thousands of women in a community. I don't want such single example. I want 100 such example. And then in the next 3 years, our target is to create 100 such super didis who are each going to have their own community of empowering 10,000, 50,000, a lakh. And the sky is the limit. So transforming communities via transforming women change makers.
That sounds absolutely fantastic. And, we wish you all the best.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you for being here today. I'll pass it over to Sanmaya.
Completely my pleasure.